Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Environmental Social Justice. I'm your host, Wendy Nystrom. And today we have returning guest Ann Davlin. She is the CEO of the Cleantech Leaders Roundtable. So welcome back, Ann.
Thank you, Wendy. I'm so happy to be here. So appreciative.
Anytime. And, a little history, folks. Ann and I have known each other for a very long time. She was actually one of the very first people in sustainability and clean energy who I had met. And I didn't even know what that stuff meant back then. So it was rather fascinating for me. But you do have extensive knowledge in this. You've worked in the clean tech world. You have worked in the sustainability world. You have worked in clean energy, and you have also worked in public policy with some pretty impressive people. So what led you from this background to working at Cleantech Leaders Roundtable? What's that transition look like?
Sure. No, thank you for the question. So just to kind of take a step back, Cleantech Leaders Roundtable is the premier membership organization for clean energy companies, particularly companies that are in the process of scaling. They've gone through a Series A or Series B. They are looking for networking opportunities. They're looking for collaboration. And the service providers that work with them also are, the law firms and the consulting firms and the folks that help you get your permits in place. Those are our members. So for me, it's a culmination of my career. I've always been in some level of like clean energy or environment or conservation or government, but always towards a solution set, not just doing the work to move a concept from point A to point B, but how do we actually move it? How do we move it from point A to point B to all the way, to Z? How can we actually make a difference? How can we create clean energy and sustainability opportunities that are wash, rinse, repeat? So that's,
keeping it simple, because so many people, as you said, I've met many people in this industry. They're really super smart engineers, but they don't know the government side. They don't know the policy side. They don't know the business side. And so they've got this great idea and they can't take it to, as you said, point Z, because they don't know how to get there and they don't know how to find those people. So you guys offer that kind of collaboration.
We do. And it's also kind of an interesting organization. It came about in 2017, the first time actually Donald Trump was elected president. And it came about around thought leadership. A couple of us were out for cocktails. That turned into dinner. And the basis of Cleantech Leaders Roundtable are these networking dinners that we do. The co-founders are Jigar Shah, who's kind of an OG in our space. Jigar, is the co-founder of SunEdison, actually created the power purchase agreement. He was a partner at Generate Capital. He is just stepping down as the director of LPO at the Department of Energy, the Loan Guarantee Program, where they've been trying to push out roughly $400 billion in loan guarantees. He co-founded the organization, as I said, in 2017, along with 𝑤𝒃𝒎𝒊𝒏𝒈, who at the time was very involved in wind and is now on the green hydrogen front. And we're very excited because in the beginning, really, it was just about networking and talking and really DC based around how can we make sure that folks on Capitol Hill, or as one of our members said, my kid was in a soccer league with some of the folks from the other side of the aisle, so a Democrat with Republicans, and that's how we started the conversation. Well, since 2017, clean energy has exploded across the country. We have chapters across the country to reflect that. So a lot of the conversations are taking place in those same soccer matches, but they're happening in Chicago and Houston and in Boston and San Francisco, Los Angeles. So they're happening across the country.
No, I mean, it's very, very important work that you guys are doing. And I love the fact that you mentioned that it started off right when, the first Trump administration. And we've already shown that 2025 is proving to be a little challenging. Big ass wildfires in California. We had a lot of damage out here. They're still burning. They're mostly contained, but we still have them burning. And we have red flag events currently going. So it's a little scary. I am sure that there is some kind of benefit with clean energy and wildfire prevention. but also with respect to how are you going to tackle 2025, being how challenging it has launched so far?
So I'll say a couple things about this. The first is the world is so different than it was in 2017, where there's a lot more people who are involved. So we can talk about clean energy solutions, but we can also just take a minute and talk about FEMA. I mean, FEMA in Federal Emergency Management Agency in 2017 was not as well equipped to address the large number of wildfires and don't forget about floods.
Yeah.
FEMA has been hurricanes, tornadoes. They've really learned how to mobilize even more. They've had some bad moments that many of us can think about. Just thinking about in New Orleans back in pre-2017, to be fair. But there's been a lot of growth in that respect. So one thing you're seeing now, and is a couple things. One is FEMA's actually doing more. I mean, you're not seeing it so much in Los Angeles right now, but they're doing more like preemptive. So there are programs now that are working with companies and with local folks to actually look at the data of what areas are the driest, which are the most across the country, but primarily on the West.
Well, yeah.
Right, are more susceptible, and what companies are out there that can be helpful. There's many more RFPs. There's much more knowledge, and quite frankly, that's where I am concerned about 2025. I understand what people are saying, but we do live in a different world. There are companies across the country that are Democratic, sure, but that are Republican. We have Heather Reams from Crest. We have Drew Bond from C Cubed. ClearPath. There's so much bipartisan understanding of clean energy now. Cleantech Texas is just across the state, is completely bipartisan. So one of the advantages we have is there has been quite a bit of funding that has been pushed out through the IRA, primarily going into rural communities, which translates to primarily red states. So much of that money, several billion, I mean, it depends on who you talk to. Is it 5 billion? Is it, a billion here, a billion there? Pretty soon you're talking real numbers. That money is being deployed on the ground in communities, creating where they're creating local jobs. There's everything from job training to manufacturing facilities being built. You have organizations like, so Climate United that is deploying capital for real estate development. So it is a little challenging, but there's so much opportunity and there's so much to look forward to. And that's why and for me, that's actually a big part of why I took over. I'm brand new to Cleantech Leaders Roundtable. I'd known about it when I'd worked for 𝑗IGR in the past, and I'd helped recruit some of the early members back in 2017 and 2018. But running the organization is brand new, and I am all about it because there's so much understanding about the need for clean energy. It's the best job creation in the country. You're talking about, helping health, and it's health and wealth, whether you're deploying energy or helping the environment. And it's a good way, the organization Cleantech Leaders Roundtable, it's a good way for people to come together because we do network over dinner, we do Cleantech coffees, but we also do strategy forums. What's an area that we need to be focused on? Let's microgrids. Say a dozen of our members are companies who are in the microgrid space. Well, all of those companies might have a similar issue. It could be, permitting. Or it could be the utilities are trying to hold back on interconnection. So we do our strategy forums, and from them, they're Chatham House rules. So you're going to come out of them, and you're going to have, if not a strategy, you could have a partnership. And as I said, like we definitely want to have a good time because we spend so much of our time working, but let's also find a way towards solutions, ways to make money or save money overcome market barriers.
That, and so many people, because, you know, we hear, I've actually said this many times in the past, we know what we can do, we know what needs to be done. It's just a lot of people aren't actually doing it. They're not implementing it. And what you are doing is you are putting these pieces together so people can implement and get these going, get these built, get these up and running. And one of the things we touched on with, you know, health and wealth, American Lung Association is all over clean energy because they don't want people breathing in soot anymore and having asthma or lung-related diseases. And people don't think about that side of it. It's like it's constant. Anyone who works outdoors is constantly bombarded with this. And so it's just a benefit for everyone. I mean, I know a lot of people lately are kind of pushing back on sustainability or being the environment. Your gift in life, Anne, is you are able to talk to anyone about anything, regardless of their political leanings. You keep that neutrality and you focus on facts. You focus respectfully on facts and data, which is why you're able to bring that bipartisanship together. Very few people have that gift. And I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you. I think it's all about opportunity. I mean, the job I had before I came to Cleantech Leaders Roundtable was at Constellation Energy, and before that I was the chief strategy officer of a startup that was acquired by Constellation. And when we were at Constellation, we were actually literally using data. You know, the great line, I trust in God, everybody else bring data. And that's really what it's about. I mean, Wendy and I know each other from the insurance industry.
Yeah.
And if I learned one thing during that time is, if you can quantify the risk and you can put a number to it, it isn't as much, oh, the number's large, the number's low. It's that this is what the number is. This is how I've quantified the risk. This is how, and then moving backwards, this is how I address it. And that's how I feel, right? Just like that. And that's how I feel about the sector. And that's why you want to bring people together. And that's
Yes.
what we're doing.
And once you put that number on it, once you quantify it, it becomes something you can solve. And most people, it's not as scary when you can solve the problem. All of a sudden you realize, oh, that's it? We got this. And so most importantly, this is a membership, so people do have to join. So how do people find you? How do people join this group?
So our website is cleantechleadersroundtable.org. You can find me and Davlin on LinkedIn. And there's a very simple application process. We ask 4 questions. Our membership goes from like startups or NGOs all the way up through corporations. We have a couple Fortune 2000 companies. They're typically a little smaller than that. We have more private companies, quite frankly, than public companies. But yes, it's cleantechleadersroundtable.org, or please find me and Davlin on LinkedIn.
Perfect. So guys, please find Anne Davlin on LinkedIn. Please find these guys. They will put you in touch with the right people and have the conversations that will get you across the finish line rather than struggling and trying to figure out on your own. Please don't do that. These are experts.
And what's brilliant also is that we have chapters across the country and in Toronto. So there are some local folks that I want to connect you with. You might live down the road from them, but there might be some folks you haven't met yet. There might be some folks you've heard about but haven't had the chance. So we're all about that. And then you'll also keep your eyes on LinkedIn and other forums like ESJ, because we're going to be putting out more thought leadership pieces, myself, our members, our board, our leadership. So, you know, as always, Wendy, thank you so much for this opportunity. I so appreciate you.
Oh, anytime, Anne. And please come back, give us updates. What you're doing is great work. So guys, Wendy Nystrom, your host with Environmental Social Justice. Please find Anne Davlin. Please support the work they are doing, and we will catch you later. Oh, and before I forget, we are now proudly sponsored by BioLargo. They just make life better. So check them out as well. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Go Dennis.
Go Dennis.
Awesome.